Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Ty Talk Sports here, and it's time for some predictions because the NBA Finals has arisen on us. The Miami Heat will be taking on the Denver Nuggets for the Larry O'Brien title as Denver has their first appearance in franchise history and Miami will be their 7th, and it is going to be a fun battle. Miami with a Cinderella story 8th seed run taking out Milwaukee, New York, and Boston, and then Denver just dominating through the Western Conference. These two teams are very talented on both ends of the floor, have star players. Should be such a fun matchup between these two teams. So what we're going to do here at Ty Talk Sports, every other day as the games come and go, we will be filming just a short prediction video breaking down who the X factors of the players will be, how I think the flow of the game will go. It's just going to be very short, very simple, but just some content talking about the NBA Finals here. So let's get to Game 1. Game 1 is this Thursday. It's going to be taking place in the Mile High City, and it's going to be fun. One of my biggest factors about this game is that Denver, we all know, they swept the Lakers, and as Miami almost had one of his most historical chokes in sports history. So what's going to happen here? Denver, by the time Game 1 will be played, they'll have rested 9 days, which is longer than the All-Star break. Denver has had such a long time of rest, a time where their bodies can recuperate, where they can all continue to be on the same page in practice, come up with new plays, study the opponents, predicting whoever that may have been, whether it was Miami or Boston. They've had time to study between the two teams and see who they're going to be facing. So when you look at Denver, you think, oh man, they're going to be prepared. They're going to be set. They're going to be ready to come out, and they're going to be ready to fire on all cylinders. And Miami has not had very much rest at all. They're a team, obviously, who has gone to a Game 7 this series, so they're going to be on the short end of the string here when it comes to rest time. That's one of my biggest factors, is that Denver will have had 9 days of rest leading up to Game 1 of the Finals, and that's huge. That is very, very huge, and one of the biggest factors I think could be in these NBA Finals. One of the biggest factors that I think will be taking place is whose stars will show up. We all know that both teams have a pretty solid dynamic duo. The Nuggets with Jokic and Murray, and the Heat with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Who's going to show up? We all know in that the Western Conference Finals, Jokic averaged a triple-double while Jamal Murray averaged 32.5 points. Almost 60 points between the two, and then you got to account for the rest of the team. Jimmy and Bam struggled a lot during that 7-game series, especially in those back four, so you got to know who's going to show up. I think my biggest X-factor player for the Miami Heat, it's got to be Bam Adebayo. You got to hope he can show up and show out on every single night, especially in Game 1 where you have to make a statement. You have to make a statement win early on. Show the league, show the world that you're not there for no reason. And Bam Adebayo is going to need to do that. He's going to need to show up on both ends of the floor, especially defensively, because their center depth is not great at all. If Bam Adebayo is struggling, who's going to guard Jokic? We all know what Jokic can do. He can score 50 on any given night, and he's going to impact the game on every single level. So you need someone who's going to be able to at least maintain that, and Bam Adebayo is the only guy who's going to be able to do that. If he's going to come out and play well defensively, and then he's going to maintain what Jokic is able to do, the Nuggets are going to have to maybe struggle a little bit without his presence and his leadership on that role. If Bam Adebayo can step up, the Nuggets might be in a little bit of trouble, but then they're going to be able to rely on Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., their shooters that they've had. I mean, you take Jokic. Here's another guy. I mean, I've talked about Denver, and I've praised Denver before about how well I believe they're built and they're talented. And so we won't focus too much on that. But the X factor, I think it's got to be Jamal Murray. I think when you look at Jamal Murray and the playoffs that he's had, the story that he's had, how he thought he was washed up goods and that he was going to be traded, and now this playoffs, he's been putting on a show. He's just putting on a straight show. He's scoring at his will. He's getting the looks he wants. Jamal Murray is going to need to play the way he the way he played in the Western Conference Finals, he's going to have to play that way in this series as well. You're going to look for Jamal Murray to score the rock. Are you going to ask him to get 32 points every night? No, you're not, but he has the ability to go for 32 points every night. Jamal Murray's untapped scoring ability is what's going to set him out for the rest of the crowd. If Jokic is somehow limited due to Bam Adebayo's defense, then Jamal Murray will have to step up and he's going to have to show out, which I fully believe that Jamal Murray is capable of showing out, and especially in a stage such as this. We've seen it before, and I have no doubts that Jamal Murray is going to show up for these finals, and he is going to put on a huge show. Now, I think something that we need to talk about is that the altitude. The altitude in Denver, obviously we hear how players talk about it, how from the NBA to the NFL, how players talk about how it's so much harder to play in Denver, how you can tell that you're a mile high up in the air because the oxygen levels aren't as high. So that's going to be a huge factor for Miami. They're coming down from South Beach, and especially playing at a series as tough as this where the Nuggets have the home openers. Nuggets are going to be comfortable because obviously that's the environment they play in. Miami is not going to be, because normally you don't really have to worry about things like oxygen levels. But you know what? In Denver, you're going to have to. I think Miami might have a bit of a struggle when it comes to this early on, especially in Game 1. I think they'll have to be used to it by Game 2. But I think in Game 1, it's going to show in that Miami team's going to be tired. Coming off a 7-game series and now going up to play Denver on a short week where Denver has had 9 days of rest, going up high in the city that is a mile high in the sky, they might have some oxygen issues and they might not be able to play at their full level because they're going to be extremely exhausted. I think that is one of the most underrated aspects of this finals talk because it's something that needs to be discussed. There's a lot of factors that go in here. We need to look at the players. We need to look at the home court advantage, the records, the talent. But not normally do you have to worry about the atmosphere of the arena that you're playing in. Yes, you have to worry about the fans and maybe if you don't have a home opener. But not normally do you have to worry about the legitimate atmosphere of your oxygen. So that is going to be a huge factor for the Miami Heat especially. And if they're going to be able to come out and steal Game 1, that's possible, but we'll see. I think it's going to be one of the biggest things about Miami is, like I said, I think they're going to be very tired. Enough of all that. We will just go ahead and get into my prediction. So for Game 1 of the NBA Finals, I'm going to be taking the Denver Nuggets, and it's going to be 116-100. I think this is going to be a no gas or no breaks, all gas performance by Denver. With them being so well rested, I think they're going to be ready and they're going to shoot the lights out. I think they're going to light it up from beyond the arc as they have pretty much throughout the course of the playoffs. But I wouldn't be shocked to see a Miami upset because that's just what Miami has done. They've shocked every single team that they have played. I thought Milwaukee won the championship. Miami said, never mind. Game 1 in Boston, Miami was down big, and then they obviously took that game and took that series. So we'll see how Miami is going to make a statement. Obviously, in the NBA Finals, you're going to want to make a statement, and both of these teams are going to be looking to do that. It is going to be a fun finals, and we're going to be covering it all here on Ty Talk Sports Network. We're going to be doing all the predictions and any breaking news that happens. We're going to be covering it here for you guys to know. So until Game 2 predictions come up, that is the end of this video here at Ty Talk Sports Network. If you did enjoy, please subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss when I upload the newest content here on this channel. And until then, this is Ty Talk Sports signing off. See you guys.